Welcome to your Daily 5 for Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. For one of our commentary tracks this week, Lando and I did something a little bit different. Instead of doing one film, we ended up doing two short films back to back, and today I'm going to review the first of those movies. It's from 1988, and it is a mostly animated film titled Dragon's Heaven. Now, as far as I could tell, and I will admit I did not do a bunch of deep research, but I took kind of a quick look around. This doesn't appear to be based on any type of pre-existing product. It's not part of a series. It's kind of an interesting one-off. Something that made Lando and I realize that we wanted something like a Jim Henson mecha show, like a live-action puppeted mecha show. Something, I guess, along the lines of like a Thunderbirds, but with the kind of Japanese anime mecha aesthetic. And the movie itself, it starts off and you have some live action with some puppeted mechs. It's pretty brief. I think it's 5 or 6 minutes maybe, which is really just the titles. And then we jump into the rest of the film, which is animated. And it is very clear that the people behind this were going for a Mœbius-inspired animation style, and it works beautifully. This looks like something that Mœbius would have had animated. I mean, that's exactly what it looks like. That's how it functions, but with a very Robotech kind of basically action style, where it's a very classic good robot versus bad robot story. It's about 40, well, actually, I think the actual movie itself, it's 40-something minutes long, but there's a good portion of that which is kind of discussion in the credits. I think the actual animated part of it is probably 30 and change, and it's great. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's very lean. There's no wasted time. There's no long, boring scenes. This thing gets to what it's getting to really fast and looks amazing doing it. I thought at several times I heard music, which sounded like video games to me. I don't know if the video games, I didn't look up the years, if the video games came first or second. So I don't know if the music was lifted from them or was adopted by the games based on this. Could be either way. It doesn't really matter. But I definitely, you'll hear me say on the commentary, that I recognized what I thought were two tracks from the Super Nintendo game Axelay, which is a great shooter I adore, but it sure sounded like that. But primarily what the movie is based around is there was a war where machine rebels, robot rebels, with some humans, I think, fought against other human beings on a planet somewhere. And the machines lost and retreated, but one machine, which was designed to work with a person inside, stayed behind because their human operator was killed. And so he went into a type of dormancy until he detected another life form, which is a young woman who happens to be taking a bath nearby and also just happens to be the child of a mechanic, and so very quickly understands how to operate this robot. And when this robot comes back in a very similar style to Darth Vader realizing that Obi-Wan Kenobi is still alive, the enemy robot realizes that his old foe is still around, and even though without that knowledge he had been just kind of cruising around the planet, he zeroes in, and the two have their final confrontation. And that's the whole movie. There's really not much else to it because, as I said, this is a pretty short film and it really just gets to the point pretty quickly. You get your layout of the background and what happened before. You get some time where the two characters, the human and the robot, are getting to know each other, and then it's battle time, and that's it. And I say that with all positivity. This is the perfect example of a story that understands that there does not need to be a lot around what is essentially a pretty straightforward A to B story. It understands the story it's telling. It doesn't waste any time. It just gives you really cool robot designs, really beautiful art style, and a simply told story. I could not possibly recommend it highly enough. This is from the era of animation that I adore. Basically the 80s, when it came to Japanese animation, is, I think, the high point in terms of hand-drawn animation. This one in particular, because it's adopting the Mœbius style, which Mœbius is, of course, a legendary artist, and to see his work animated so faithfully. I mean, it isn't one-to-one. He never drew, I don't think, these things, but the style is done so well that it all really just comes together in something that is so remarkable because it looks so good, and again, doesn't waste any time. And the best part is, you can watch it for free over on archive.org, which of course I'll link in the show notes here. So again, 1988's Dragon's Heaven. If you love anime from the 80s, this one is a must-see. Later.